Alright, I'm back. I just love it when I go to start a stream and my headphone jack decides to give the plugged, unplugged, plugged, unplugged warning. So you're just constantly hearing ba-dung, 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 ba-dung over and over again. And it gets annoying fast. So let's see if we can finish this bastard of a model up. Well, it means I've got to stop what I'm doing, shut things down, restart things, and it's like, really? And how are you? I'm about the same. I'm okay. Slept oddly last night, but I'm okay. And I think I taught Jen to stop buying these bougie macaroni and cheese things last night. Well, it seems like starting sub-only chat on Kick has helped with the... Or not sub-only, but follow-only chat has helped with the bots. Because the bots ain't gonna follow. Well, she kept buying them, and last night one did not agree with my digestive system, and it kind of woke her up at 4 in the morning. Ooh. I told her I didn't like them, I don't like what they do, I don't like how they taste artificial and wrong, and... Yep. Come on, you bugger. Hey, Major Havoc. I forgot to pick up new super glue yesterday, so I'm trying to work the best I can with what I got. And these are the worst part of any Centauro model. Even the Ace one, these were a pain in the ass. And this is just the basic shape. There's 3 cleats that I've got to glue inside there. It's going alright. I'm off today and tomorrow. Slept in a little later than I wanted today, but I say that every time, don't I? It's not wrong, just I slept in later than I wanted. Allie, what are you doing? What is this? Why this side of the table? No. Get back on the chair. Yeah, you. Get back on the chair. I don't want her bumping the glue bottle as soon as the glue comes out. On the chair, come on. No, I saw you wanting to jump. Come on, get up there. Good girl. Really? Can't do this, girl. Not right now. You're right in my workspace, and I've already had enough this morning, girl. I don't need you up here right now. Thank you. But we're already 1/10 away from the Humvee goal. Hopefully that'll be 2/10 here pretty soon. There is no way that they did this twice. Wow, okay. Yep. Hey, Be Big Fish. Thank you for the follow. How you doing? I'm going to try and bend that up into position, because that should sit relatively level, not angled downward like that. I don't know if that's my fault or a fault of the part. These have to be the weakest link in this kit. Alright, I got that into a better position. So I'm trying to get these four assembled, and then I have to cut out these individual cleats and glue them in the middle. I'm trying to remember on the Model Victoria one, I think they were part of the etching and you had to bend them and shape them as you did it, which was more tedious, but it worked better. Another thing they left out on the instructions was the inclusion of these. For Italian ones that are armed with this kind of smoke discharger, these are your reload tubes. Spanish ones have the German style that go up here and uses two boxes. They did not include anything on the instructions about mounting the reload tubes. So the only other photo etch parts left would be these. They're shields for the headlights and the side lights here, but I can't put those on until after I've got the headlights installed, which can't happen until after I've started painting. because I really don't feel like masking them. How's everybody else's weekend been so far? But between the holiday pay I got, meeting a quota at work last month, and a raise that I got last month, I ought to be able to put a larger initial dividend down for the Humvee fund next week than I would normally be able to. Okay. Give that a second to kick. And I have noticed on builds of this model, I know I'm kind of jumping back and forth, people who have built it in the past have left these off because I don't think they wanted to build them. The pictures that I've found, I haven't seen a vehicle yet that doesn't have them. Yeah, every single vehicle has them. Unless it's got the fender skirts mounted, and it looks like they're removed. But every one of this type has them. Hey Davos, welcome, welcome. So how are things in the UK today? I heard there's some stuff going on. You guys okay over there? Thank you. Yeah, she's getting there. Alright, while that side dries off, let's see if I can do this without driving myself insane. Or would it be easier to replace these with just lengths of styrene? Yeah. And we're gonna do one at a time. I mean, I did okay on this one. Okay, come on, autofocus. See how right in the middle there's that cleat separating it for strength? I've just got to do that on all these too. Come on. Wow, really? As I thought. I don't have tweezers tiny enough for this, I think. Maybe I do. Aha. So here's what I'll do. Come on. I just want that little sliver of super glue that I put on there to grab this. Just long enough and just right so I can hit it with the accelerator. But it keeps turning or falling. No. Come on, just hold like that for just a second. And this is why this particular task is going to take so long. There's many sides to that story that I've seen. Come on. Little bugger. It doesn't help this superglue's not fresh. It's a couple months old, so it's not reacting properly. Let's try this a different way. Okay, that worked a little bit better. The thing that I've noticed, though, is it almost seems like there's too many things going on over there. But they're all interconnected somehow. And the one main thing that comes up, and this is just from somebody, you know, far away looking at it, but having lived there, I also understand the hows and whys of why things are done the way they are, but not that I agree with them. Somebody's mismanaged your fucking money. But because of that extent, your nation is looking for new ways to tax people to make up that deficit instead of just, you know, learning how to spend it better. Hence the inheritance tax, the farmer's tax, the ULEV zones, and all this other bullshit, the unused rooms tax that's cropped up. It really is invasively disturbing. And I think people are just getting tired of it. I mean, I hate to say it, is some penny pincher over there going to come up with a walking on the street tax to count every step you take? Because, you know, every step you take wears out the pavement, so we're going to have to pay to fix the pavement after you walk on it, after, you know, a million years. At least that's what it looks like from our side of things. Combined with other things that are a bit more hot button that we really won't get into, because yeah, I don't want you guys having the Bobby show up at your doors. You said this online, you know. So I don't know the extent to which these things get bent up on the real ones, but I can't imagine them being too perfect, so I'm not too concerned about keeping them exactly straight. So. I'm going to switch over to this side while the accelerator dries on that side a bit better. Come on, play nice. There we go. have just fucked that one up. Let's see. Come on, just stay like that. Okay, I'm gonna have to hit this with accelerator. There. Right. Over here we call that knee jerk. And some of it is even from decisions made hundreds of years ago, which is really fucked up. You know, back from the sun never sets on England days. Things written into contracts and clauses that people forgot about, but other people remembered. And they're using that to their full advantage now. Oh yeah, council houses are gone. They're well, and the thing is, and correct me if I'm wrong, the original idea of the council was similar to an HOA here, where you had a council of people that maintained the neighborhood and the area for a good living space for a small fee, right? But then it got twisted into this bureaucratic quagmire of a shit show. And that just went dancing off on me, didn't it? Which no longer stands for what it was originally made for. There it is. It's like you pay your council tax, that makes sure that your garbage gets emptied and things like that. And there might be a little bit left over to help those out in emergencies, say if a branch collapses on your roof or something. Just helps keep stuff neat and tidy. Not anymore, though. And the council houses were there for people who fell on hard times so they could have a place to live. It made sense over there, to a degree. But now it seems like that's been abused. Unfortunately. And yes, I am skirting saying something because, again, I don't want you guys having people visiting you because you watch me say that. See, that's all so the council can continue to pocket its money, but not have to pay somebody. And it's probably the same company they were paying. But if that's the case, why pay your council tax? Just like with the BBC and all these TV tax collectors walking around lately. It's like, well, I'm not watching TV, so they're having to change their wording. Any device capable of intercepting a TV signal. Yeah, you guys don't have to get too specific on here. Yeah, since I don't live there anymore, I can say where I lived, and that was Red Lodge, just outside of RAF Mildenhall and Lakenheath. That's because no one's gonna find me there anymore. Okay, this is going a bit smoother than I thought now that I've got a system down for it, at least. Now I've said that. Oh, that one went under it. Yeah, we don't want you down there. We want you up. You could say that, but yeah, it's the RAF base in the Suffolk area. 48th Fighter Wing. I enjoyed my time there. Mainly because I met people like Ares there, so... He made it fun. Okay, that started to gel. Need a new batch. We only got 3 more of these little things to go. Why is that funny, Ares? It's true. The shit we did there with the Air Force of today, I don't think we would have got away with it. Yeah. What do you expect for an Asda rocket? The Crow Scarers never failed. That Asda bullshit, yeah, forget that. I still remember that too. And all you see is the silhouette, because didn't we do a barrage, like a 6-shot, and they all went over the heath and landed on the other side in the tree line? Even 4th of July doesn't compare to 5th of November. I'll give you guys that. 4th of July is cool for all of us and everything, but 5th of November just felt a lot more unregulated than any July 4th celebration over here. At least to me it felt that way. Okay, one more. One more of these little bastard things, then I can build the hatches and the MG3 mounts, and we can paint. Yeah, I wish I could go back to the England of back then. I would not want to go there now. suffice to say, I would probably feel safer walking into Russia wearing an American flag shirt, humming the Ukrainian national anthem, than I would walking into England right now. Maybe we should put that on a shirt. Get you kicking so I can peel you off. Okay. Back to turret stuff. Hull stuff is pretty much done until paint. I don't know, I've been thinking of coming up with some shirt designs for a merch store of some sort. I need to start something like that, don't I? It's been long enough, but I don't know. I need a design of some sort, an emblem, something I can slap on a shirt. But, like, would it be like the Busy Builder, just spelled out in sprues with, like, kit parts on it for different things? Maybe form the letters that way? I couldn't be that distinct, unfortunately, Ares, because remember who owns Alien now. Don't need that coming after me for anything. And I know other people's had this crap laid down when they started their streams, but that's because they went into it thinking of that from the start. I just went into it for a place to talk to people. Or maybe like a cartoon caricature of me with my little gut trying to put the tire on a Humvee. But the Humvee's like a model kit Humvee instead of a full-size one, but it works in two ways in that regard. You could have like sprues around the Humvee on the ground with like other parts of it, like a door or something. Big old bottle of glue. I mean, I know I can draw, but it's been decades since I have. If anyone else is artistically inclined and wants to throw that out there, feel free. Send you a Humvee model or something, I don't know. I got plenty of them. Not AI generated though, please. But that's up to y'all. get the destructions back out for a moment. I did order a set of figures, so after I do the base paint on this, I'm going to start on building the Oshkosh fuel truck. Mainly because I don't want to get too far ahead on this before I get the figures. Because they'll kind of tell me where to go on the setting for the vehicle. Excuse me. Or I could even set it up so whoever designs the logo for the shirt would get a cut from each sale. I don't know. Where's my Centauro pictures? I think this opens to the side, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it just slides to the side. I need to find better pictures of it, though. So it just does, like, this kind of thing. I just don't know how far. Really? My photo thing locked up. Everything's locked up. Great. Excuse me. Yeah, so from what I can tell, it actually does go all the way around like that. So I can glue it there. Cool. And it's meant to be glued in the closed position, just from the way the pin works. But I can make it work the other way too. There. Okay. B30, A11, and 9. Oh. Sorry for all the yawning, guys. Like I was saying, last night was a rough night. The wife made macaroni and cheese that woke me up from a dead sleep at about 3 a.m., which in turn woke her up from a dead sleep at about 3 a.m. It was some kind of smoked bacon brie flavored crap. The Kroger Select type stuff, and yeah. I mean, it was making me gag, and the cats left the room. How's that? A9. Oh. So let's see where DD goes. It's this one. Okay. How the hatches lie back? There. All right. There. That's for the Spanish version. That's for the Spanish version. Done with that. We're close to painting on this, guys. I know the construction part's kind of boring, an old hat and all that stuff. So I need C, what? 7. That's this. Overall, I give this kit a highly recommended. But if you've watched my videos on construction, and if you've been following along Model Student as he's been doing his, there is room for improvement, but as long as you're able to anticipate the misnumbered instructions and go from there, it's actually a pretty damn nice model. some fiddly bits, but there's no way to get around it. It's that way on every iteration of this kit. So after this and the fuel truck, what do we say to a break from wheeled vehicles and we try and do something tracked? I'll see what I got around. Be cool to do a Sergeant York, but I don't want to spend that much just yet. Unless somebody can find the old Tamiya kit cheap. The AFV Club one is... or not AFV, whoever makes that, TACOM, whatever that is. I do. I am saving that for longer winter days. Because the thing about Lego, at least for me, I gotta be able to sit down and build it, not from start to finish in one sitting. I need a dedicated space to build that, because I can't go cleaning it up every day in that regard. Like, once I open a pack of bricks, I have to use that pack, the way the parts are broken up. And I know you've built enough to know exactly what I'm talking about. Like a model, everything's still on the sprues and you can throw it back into the box and put it wherever until you get motivation to do it again. Lego, it's like a puzzle. You need to leave it on the table. Especially considering you've got to build all the track links. But don't worry, it is not buried away. It is actually on the surface, on, believe it or not, top shelf of my storage shelves. So that way when the time comes where I have the time to devote to it, I can jump right on it. I think that's most of the reason I don't do Lego, though, is because it's tedious for me. Because of that. So my hat's off to you for being able to accomplish it. You've done Ecto 1, you've done the Ornithopter from Dune. What else have you done Lego-wise? Okay, MG mounts. Oh yeah, the Batwing, the tumbler, okay. So. It's not telling me which ones they want to go where. There we go. So the first one, I need this. But mainly I want to do it right, because not only is it Lego, it's fully functioning RC. I believe this one, since it's offset outward, is the commander's. So what I did for crew, I went to eBay, I studied the helmet design for the Italian crew. It's actually the same helmet as the British modern tankers at the time. So I found a British tank crew for a lot cheaper than the recast from Taiwan. This one's like the Verlinden one, got it from US. US seller had it. Like I said, the uniforms look similar enough. With a little paint, you won't notice. So they're on the way, but they won't be here until next weekend. And I don't really want to work the base on this too much without having the crew. Alright, I know I can throw this out. So do you have any more Lego excursions planned? There's that. Yeah, I'll have to look further. These are the smoke grenade refill containers for the Spanish version. I think the Italian version may have used these for stowage containers too. Ooh, there you go. So this attaches how? Here? I think it goes there in the gap, which would then line up the MG3 centrally. Okay. Ah. I remember building these on the C1, and they were a pain in the ass. Come to my fingers, you fiddly thing. There's that. Looks like today's a very quiet Sunday, though. Let me see something real quick. Okay. Sorry. I was just making sure things were working as they were supposed to. With all the other little errors this morning. Felt like that probe from the Star Trek original series. Error! What episode was that? The Changeling? Nomad from the original series? That episode was also one of the 2 times Scotty died. He's the only red shirt to have died twice. Oh, I got somebody at my feet. Hi, Marmar. Hi, buddy. Yeah, you get pets. I wish you would hop up on the chair some more. You used to chair cat. You getting bellies. He's a good boy. Get all this fur off my hand. I think if you want more pets, bud, you got a chair cat. You heard me. I think that's a fair trade. Up. Come on. Marbles, come on. I know you can do it. Come on. Marbles up. Come on. He's scratching his ear. He'll think about it for about an hour, then decide. Decided to glue the gun shield on last on this one. See how it goes. A little bit better. Well, you coming up or what? Where'd you go? Oh, you're right behind me. Crazy cat. Okay, is there... I know something else that I need to do. I need this piece. And this one. And these two. So when's that new Silent Hill movie due out? And for those interested in seeing it, what do you think? Word has it, it is basically the second game, movie version. And the real question is, how much of the Radha Mitchell, Sean Bean movies are going to be in it? I don't think much of any, if any, simply because the pyramid head in this looks like the one from the second game. It doesn't look like the made-up movie one. It's Christoph Gans doing this one as well. So the same director who did the first movie. I think he produced the second one, which until the end with the carousel was actually a pretty faithful adaptation of the third game. Minus the whole big creature in the mall scene, which would have been awesome. I need to look at my book real quick. Looky in my bookie. This one does not have the frontal applique armor, so we're not going to use it. I get the feeling that Major Havoc is now on YouTube looking up the trailer to that film now. I'd heard grumblings about it earlier this year, and suddenly there's previews, so hopefully a rushed production doesn't screw it up. I don't think the other two movies were bad. They strayed a lot, but they weren't bad. But on this one, given the nature of the story, it's essentially crime and punishment in, horror form. They better not fuck this one up at all. Like, you really don't have a lot of room to stray. Alright, with that, I want to do another quick reference dump search. I think we're ready for paint on this. Okay, it looks like it... Yeah, I'm probably going to just put those boxes on. I'm just trying to justify it. I need to see the other side of the turret clearly. Okay, they didn't use them there. Alright. But for everybody watching on Kick, welcome. I do have follower-only chat on. It's not an attempt to gain followers quicker. It's simply because of the constant chat bots on Kick for bot following and all that crap. I don't like it. They don't follow, so this keeps the real people at least following and chatting. But yeah, we're ready for paint. Pop the rims off of the wheels. So if I had these kind of center caps, I could have used the same Michelin tires on the Oshkosh on this as well. And we are also past the first hour point, so I do need to take a move around break. Say that 5 times fast. But we can do that. Get that out. Throw those out and throw that out. One less box. But I'm going to pause real quick, get my paints out, and we'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I had to reslice the tires for the front of the Oshkosh again. Just hope I got enough resin. I should. Getting some music going here. So did you look up that? Did you find that trailer, Major Havoc? Got NATO black. I want to pre-shade in that. And NATO green. Doesn't help my hands are hurting today. There. You can tell I haven't used that one in a while. Maybe we should mix it up and use it up. But no, where'd my paint bucket go? There it is. The first attempt at the wheels failed because the inner part of the hub was thin and didn't properly print. The second ones I thought were okay until cleanup. I was looking at them once I got them off the supports, and they had pinched at the base, so the tires weren't the same thickness all the way around. I hope this one gets it. It should. Okay, we're going to start out with some pre-shading in NATO black, though. Not that it needs a lot. But for the look I'm going for, I want a little something under there to boost contrast a little bit. Really? Is that on? There we go. Like, why am I not getting any stored wind? We're getting stored wind now. So one thing I've noticed a lot of builders doing lately is they will completely cover a model in black primer. Now you see, I usually don't prime my stuff. That's for you to decide if you want to do. But going straight to just black primer over all the model is actually not a good thing, especially if you're using a lighter color like green, dark yellow, or white. What you want to do is start with a gray primer, and then pre-shade like this if you want to go for that effect. Because when you start with just black primer, you're having to fight that black paint in the middle of your larger panels. And I'll show you what I mean when we get to the painting phase. As far as the base color, I think you could kind of see it when I was doing the Macross Batroid. It's harder to get that edge contrast on your panels and joins when the entire surface is uniformly dark. Yeah, so for me, if you don't expect the vehicle to stay black, so like if you're doing a black F-14 or a P-61 or even one of Batman's cars, use a gray primer. There's a reason they do it in the automotive industry, and the same reason applies to modeling. It allows the color to read. There's other nuances you can get into, like, well, if you're painting a red car, gray can dull it down. That's right. That's why outside of, like, the big three, say if you got a hot rod shop doing your car, they're actually going to prime your car in yellow. Or they'll prime it in gray and base paint it in yellow, depending on which route they take. And then they'll put the red over that, because the yellow helps the translucent nature of the red pop. White would be too ashy and pinkish. Yellow keeps the red warm. Or like even on my Camaro, any bodywork I do, when I go to restore the base color on it, even using touch-up cans for now, I still base in the red-brown primer, because the brown paint I put over it doesn't have to fight the primer as much as if I just used a gray or black primer. Because quite honestly, if you use a black primer, expect your model to be darker overall, and expect to use twice as much paint to even bring your surface color up to temperature. Even if you're going for a faded look afterwards, it'll make it that much harder. You can use it to deepen shadows, like in there. If I don't spray as heavily down there with the NATO green when I go back for that pass, that area will appear deeper and stronger. Especially with the surrounding color being slightly lighter due to the thinner nature and the light bouncing back. And this is something that even basic high school art classes taught people back in the day. When you're painting or you're using colored pencils or any kind of color medium, go lightest to darkest. And I'm sure there's people out there that will argue the point of using the black primer. That's up to them. All I know is from just even the most basic principles. That's how you want it to look if you want to do any kind of modulation, shading, fading, contrasting, whatever. I could go further by putting white on it, but I don't have to. For what I'm doing, it's not necessary. And the paint bites the plastic pretty well on its own. Now, let me pop out the seams on these a little bit better. And if anybody out there watches Macross and they're wondering why this vehicle seems so familiar, Macross Frontier episodes 1 and 2, these were the civilian defense vehicles. Oh, it looks like I'm finally fully adjusting to this airbrush and how it works and aims. I don't know how much of the shading I'm really going to do down here. Mud did splash up onto these areas pretty thoroughly. Gonna have to be selective about how I represent this. I don't think I want to go as grimy as I did on the LAV, but I still want to show the fact that these areas got built up. I also want to throw shadows into these wheel wells. And I may have to exaggerate it, but I want to show how this will stay somewhat visible. Or at least I hope it does. For all I know, I might just be screwing the pooch on this. Or as Critical Drinker likes to say, let's find out, shall we? Now I'm going to go back over this area after I paint it, but I really want to have this area deeper and darker. That's where the exhaust comes out. And that area is essentially black on most vehicles. Intake grill for the radiator. That's the emergency pull handle for the fire system. That gets painted red. Alright. I think we got most of the major bits and bobs. Let's actually do inside the headlight area, just throw shadow back in there. Some up under there. And you don't have to get every little single detail. It helps sometimes, but it's okay if you miss one or two. Alright. Oh, yeah, there we go. Another reason I'm going with the pre-shading is this is going to be a single color vehicle, and honestly, to me, they can be pretty boring if you don't do something to break up the surface a little bit. You guys awake out there? I think Ares has probably fallen back asleep. Shake up this a bit more. I think I have some that's mixed a bit lighter. Actually, that might be this bottle. Let me shake them up, see what they do, because I might be confused now. I want the slightly lighter one for highlights. So I think that's the lighter one. A little bit. Might drop a little bit of dark yellow in there just to knock it up a hair bit more. There we go. So the thing about pre-shading is, we'll start with the back. You go into the middle of the area that you made and lay down your color. Be sure you leave a little bit of black showing on the edge. And here's where a decent airbrush that can do relatively fine work. You know, you don't need a 0.1 or 2.5 needle. You can do it with a 3. But just good control, good flow, good paint mix really comes in handy here. Right? So let me fill in the rest of this. Notice I'm keeping it light. I'm not trying to cover it all in one coat just yet. Because if you try and do that, you ruin what you did the pre-shading for. So once you get that done, you get it kind of blocked in, mostly filled but not totally. Then coming from a little further out, you open up the spray a bit more. This is when you go for your more uniform finish. But again, not totally, just do one pass at a time, just to fill it in. But if you look carefully, you can see how you still have darker splotches here and there, all over the place. And they'll really begin to pop out once you put your clear coats and your washes on. They'll kind of sneak back out to the surface on you. And then when I do the next pass with the slightly lighter shade, I'm basically going to cloud the center of those panels again to simulate fading. This is mainly only done on the upper surfaces of the vehicle, because the belly doesn't really fade, does it? It just gets coated in dirt. Now it is harder to pull off with darker colors like this, but you can do it. And the reason I go for the approach where you fill in is if you just go over with the same even coat, you wind up just evenly distributing the paint. Whereas on this, you're allowing the paint to kind of bleed through. See if I can get this at an angle to just hit the veins and not deep down in. I got most of it. Is everybody else having a good weekend, though? Wakey, wakey. There you go. Okay, that was delayed. It's like, gosh, I know I'm boring, but wow. Need more green. Wonder what the Italian for Kermit is. Maybe we should name this Centauro Kermit. There we go. Yeah. Alright, so the caliper goes by one part there. That's the rotor. I might have to paint the inside of these steel on one little bit. Let's get the rim painted though. The outer part at least. You can kind of see the pre-shading working here though. The rim inner part looks a hair bit deeper than it would normally, I think. Don't know why I just didn't hold it from the MG to begin with. Alrighty. Ears tickling again. Yeah, it's going to be hard to maintain the pre-shading here because of all the angles I've got to do the color in it. We'll make it work somehow, though. That's probably where the lighter color after will come in to help a little bit. It'll pop those panels a bit more. Need more paint. There we go. Yeah, this technique works really well on aircraft. It's difficult to do on armor. There's that. Mainly because of all the different nooks and crannies on armor that you have to shoot from so many different angles, you wind up putting down a healthy base coat. I was just trying to give an example. So we're going to take another break after I get this done, let it dry a bit. Go wash my hands, and we'll start assembly on the fuel truck as this base coat dries. Actually, no, I'm going to go wash my hands, and then we'll do all the upper fading on this. I want to get that going before we do the detail wash. I just want to add other lightened examples of this color, though. I guess not. Dump this out. Run a little more through just to give it that clean. Hang that up. I'm going to put a couple drops of dark yellow into this bottle because it looked a bit lighter, but not too much. Not enough for me. And while I'm on my walk around break, I'll shake it up, make sure that it's fully mixed. And I'm using dark yellow instead of white because it'll keep that khaki tone to the paint. Ah, my face! Without chalking it. So if you just add white to it, it just chalks the color too much. This might be too bright, but that's alright. We'll find a way. But let me pause and I'll be right back. I need to go wash these hands off. I'm back. Alright, let's see how this does. See it next to the bare base color. We'll do it. We'll see how it dries. I got some cookies too. Cookies! Allie? Allie? Down, now. We're not doing this today, girl. Please get down. Doesn't really look lighter at all, does it? I know it is. Let me go just a tad lighter then. If it's not light enough for my eye to read it or the camera, then it's not light enough. Flush this out of here. Alright, let's see what this does. There we go. That's a bit better. You can see how that's reading as a lightness, a cloudy lightness. I like it. And that should pop really well with the clear coat. In fact, that's actually the next step. We might clear it before we start doing construction on the other one. Because oil washes don't work really well without a clear coat. You can use them. They absorb into the paint too much. They're easier to control for at least like detail washes and stuff when you have a gloss layer down. Now here's where we bring up the other trend. The use of the post-it note for fading and shading, especially in the so-called color modulation. I don't know about you, but I've not known these panels to sit at such obscure angles that they would fade independently with such neat and clean demarcation lines. Typically they all sit in the same amount of sun for the same amount of time at roughly the same relative angle to the sun. Or does physics work different in model world than it does, to my mind, for this? You notice I'm really not bringing it down onto the lower edges of anything. I didn't do the underside of the turret, the underside of the barrel. Nothing like that. Mainly just the upper surfaces. Actually, before I do that, let's do this. Just so I know which bottle's which in the future. Because we're going to be using that same faded color. Ah, come on, you. we're going to be using that same faded color on the Oshkosh. Because they are so big, they only ever get stored outdoors, and you rarely, if ever, see one with pristine paint. Cookie. New paper towel. We're going to give this a quick shine juice job before we start on the other one. I want to see if the gloss will knock all the colors back down and the pre-shading and the base coat show through a bit better. I think it will. I kind of like what I'm seeing here. I think the highlight color is registering a bit too bright, but that's because it's a bit more chalky. Once the gloss gets on, it should jump back down to how I want it to read. It is. There we go. See all that pre-shading and fading kind of just jumped to life with that? And that'll stay that way now even after flat coating, because all the colors, all the layers have been kind of bonded with this. So that is one benefit of a clear varnish, is it'll actually unify all your layers, kind of. Kind of like when you're working in Photoshop and you combine your layers. Then again, I haven't worked in Photoshop since, 2000. Thanks again for everybody who's watching. Notice we got a couple more viewers on Kick. If y'all want to raise your hands, please feel free. Or give a follow if you want to chat. It's also Subtember on Twitch, but you can sub on any channel, either YouTube, which is free still, and Kick or Twitch. Be greatly appreciated if you'd like. A little goes a long way with that. Really? See, I'm not perfect. What did I miss there? What's wrong with this picture, Peppa Pig? I could have sworn I'd painted that. We'll get it here in a second. This model just doesn't want me working on the fuel truck, that's all. I never really noticed the no-slip texture on the model before. You see how it's not completely shiny? Talk about subtle. We'll see how it sits after the detail wash. We might go back with the highlight color after the detail and flat wash and decals and start plucking out smaller details here and there. Definitely do some chipping, which is another reading I like doing, or not another reason. Wow. Brain. Because you can keep the chipping subtle by going back with the base color and doing it first, and then working it up from there, instead of just going immediately to a darker color. Alright, where you at? Let that dry for a second, reload the clear, and then do the underside of the barrel. I just hope this third set of tires comes out okay, because I'm going to have to buy more resin if they don't. Okay, music. think we'll definitely have a Centauro short tonight as well. Work in progress. Especially considering now we have the paint on it. Probably at least do the decals since they're no fun to watch. Very time consuming and very long waits because you gotta wait for them to set before you can do another one, and you gotta keep applying setting solution and all that. So I'll probably get the decals on it post stream at some point before I make the short. Okay. Bit of shine. Cookie. I also have to search through my stash for S4 decals to fit. It comes with decals with Arabic on it. But I really don't feel like making one from the Mideast. We just did a Mideast model with the Fennec and the LAV. So I want to move this kind of more into continental Europe a little bit. And it will also slightly change the color palette we use for our weathering. Still going to use the same earth tone paste from Vallejo for the base, but I'm going to mix up colors and oils a bit more. Less sandy, more brown, earthy. I might see about getting more acrylics down the line. I found some on Amazon. They're in my wish list. I just gotta get to them. It's all waiting on payday, really. I'd like to do something where I keep this in the snow a bit more. But it's looking like that might not be the case. It'll be neat to do something with just like a roadside with just a little bit of grass, a little bit of snow on it, maybe a road sign, placing it in Sarajevo somewhere. There's some that I can copy from the book. Maybe like a, not so much dead of winter, but a late fall, early spring time frame. Basically where it's enough to build up, but not enough to stick all day. Which would allow for a lot of wet effects and stuff on the vehicle, which I've also found Vallejo makes some of those that I can use too. I'm going to get this all thrown back together, and then that way I can put it neatly out of the way in one place. This mix has a little grunt to it, doesn't it? You there, you there. Last look at the base paint before I decal tonight. Tomorrow we'll probably be doing more wash work on it, and at least get to the flat coat while we're also building on the fuel truck. But now that it's in its base color, I like it. Definitely seems more uniform and unified. Autofocus? Yep. There we go. Like I said, there's a really, really fine no-slip texture, which is appropriate. Alright, so there's that. These. Get me a drink. Yes, you did, which was all the painting. It's all base painted. Pre-shaded, highlighted, faded. For now. Hey, family time's more important than watching some old geezer build a model, isn't it? Hey, Genster, thank you for the follow. So these are the tubes I was trying to tell you about. They're the reloads for these. The instructions don't really tell you about them. Then there's the side steps. There's a lot of people I notice leave these out of their builds. Come on, camera, work. There we go. Mine are bent to hell, but I think they are in real life too. This is not an invitation, girl. This is the third time today. So yeah, we're just going to set this aside to cure. I'll do decals later off stream. And we're going to start working on the fuel truck. Because I'm having to reprint the front tires for the fuel truck for the third time. Can I help you? Can you get the hell out of the way then? I'm not in a mood for her stuff right now because I'm still in the middle of building mode, not in the middle of wind down mode. It's not wind down mode. I know we're near the 3-hour mark, but it's not time for you to be up here yet. I don't care how cute you want to try and be by stretching. You need to get down. Come on. Oh, good girl. Stay down. Anywho. So the front rims, first print. The front and rear rims are different for this vehicle. The front ones have a deeper the rear ones have a deeper dish with a ribbed hub. On the original, the first print for the front, the inner part of the rim failed right along here. I fixed it on this one, I think. The second print I did, I laid them down more, but because of the angle they were at, this one end was pinched on all the wheels. So I didn't like how that worked out. So I'm trying a third time with them almost vertical. Extra support on this piece here and going down into the rim, because unlike this one, the other ones actually have a space around here that allowed it to fail, because something failed right here and it didn't catch up immediately until it got to about here. And that's when the layer across this point was enough to start supporting itself. So I think I got it cracked this time, but here's my print. Here's the kit wheel. This is why I'm not using the kit wheel on this one. Really good details on it though. 030 layer height. So that means I can start out by throwing out this sprue entirely. Okay. And you can get the files for those, the LAV tires, Humvee tires, and some of the... Where did that go? The handle to my brush just fell off and went somewhere. There it went. And some of the more non-standard Humvee tires as well. You can get them all from the same user at Cults. And I'm also going to have to take care on the paint scheme on this, because unlike other companies, Italeri actually printed in the black and green separation from where it's painted over the camouflage. So it's reversed. They're not even good enough for spares for a Dio. They're that bad. I'm gonna have to get new brushes too. So there's those. Glass is good. Destructions. Main body parts. Cab. And frame. And while I got all that out of this box, I'm going to put this one into here to keep it safe from any cats who want to jump up on here. But I might be making a run to Hobby Lobby tomorrow to see what I can get. So I'll be streaming tomorrow. Next streaming date, as far as full day off stream, will be probably next Sunday or Monday. That schedule's not out yet, of course. You'll know as soon as I know, and I'll put up a post on YouTube about it. Okay, where's step one? Let me see something here. Okay, I need to find something out. I need at least one of those wheels. I'm back. So they got you sticking this brake drum looking thing on before you put the wheel on. But that's only on the... Can't tell if that's the front or the rear. I'm gonna say that's the rear. So how does that work with these? It doesn't really work that well with these. So I'm gonna hold on to this wheel at least. But I think these are made in a way that I don't need any of the kit parts. I just need to figure out the depth and cut it to fit. Oh yeah, I've been getting a few too. It seems to have peaked at 570 for right now. I haven't looked recently. I noticed every stream I get one or two. Yeah, I'm still at 570 right now. We'll see. I think YouTube really needs to stop screwing around with the algorithm and just let things go. Okay. So I need the A sprue. That's B. Okay, get my coffee mug out of the way. It's a bit too late in the day for that now. Jeez, it's already 3. Alright. Part 9. Yeah, I've noticed that too. Personally, I think it happens because somebody finds your channel, and then you don't say anything wrong, but you say something they might not like, which is fine. And then somebody else comes along and fills the gap that they left. Or it could be YouTube authenticating them as well. It's like, oh, this is a person. This isn't a person. Oh, it is a person. I really don't know. But mine's been at 570 the past couple days. Usually I notice I get a couple subs when I do a short upload. More than a stream, even though I'll get a couple during streams, which is fine. I changed the stream category again. I'm trying to see which one works best, because I know that the way they work on YouTube depends on the amount of exposure you get. And you want the ones that are more entertainment than educational. So I'm trying to figure out how mine all falls into on that, you know? But that's what I mean, is YouTube needs to let its crap settle and let people learn how to use it. Like, right as soon as people figure it out, they change it again. It's like, come on, guys. Now, bear in mind, the kit I'm working on now was made back in the 90s. So it's going to have a lot of issues. One thing I might do... I'll see if there's files, but if they're not, I can probably scratch build it. I want to open up the doors to the fuel pump, so I can have that exposed and the hoses out and all that stuff. Right now they've just got them molded shut. And I had built this kit once back in 2000? Tail end 2001? Somewhere in there? And I honestly don't remember what happened to it. I built it in college, then I re-enlisted after the Idiot's attack on September 11th. And then I don't remember what happened to it. Italy? They still issue it now. Good luck finding it for the money I found this one for. This is an older edition of the kit. The newer ones are all with the sand-colored one on the box art. I actually like the box art on this one better. From what I remember the first time I built it, it's a really good kit. But I honestly have difficulty remembering back then. Go on eBay and look. I can guarantee you find one probably in the $50 range, even with conversion. You gotta kind of just look around and be careful. I got this from some dude in New York. I bet if you went to... Do you have any hobby shops around where you are? Like mom and pop shops, brick and mortar? Or even look on Facebook Marketplace. Bet you there's somebody up there selling kits that might have this one. It's one of those kits that everybody had, but nobody built. If you even look at the forums nowadays, nobody built this kit, it seems. Which is a shame, because it really is a nice kit. And this is one of those kits that most people would overlook, because it's like, why would I want to build a fuel truck? The question isn't, why would you want to build a fuel truck? Why would you not want to build an 8-wheeled fuel truck based on one of the most rugged-looking chassis in the world? Why has every place got to have its own little name for something? It's so weird. I bet if you put a post looking for one, you could probably find one in the price range you want. Now, the most fun part of any model truck build, the frame. I did notice, though, that Italeri has actually revamped its Humvee kit. It now has separate tires with rubber wheels with the proper tread now, where before it had ones that were a lot like this, but smaller. And the Italeri Humvees are still some of the best around. If you want to build one but not pay $80, just go for the Italeri one. Especially the newer boxings. Like I said, they've got the new wheels now. I don't know if they updated the mirrors or anything else, but I know they have good wheels. So if you notice something here, I'm trying to keep the parts lined up as I have them in the instructions. Because to keep this relatively square, I'm going to have to build it pretty quick. And then kind of wiggle everything as I glue it. So we'll probably at least get through the basic frame construction on this, so essentially step one. And then once that's done, we might jump ahead and do some of the other stuff, like the engine housing, you know, just other things that we don't have to be on the frame for it. So the engine housing, the cab, stuff like that. But I'm getting everything kind of laid out where it needs to go in relation to the frame. So when assembly begins, so this goes back here. This is there. Oofta. That's a lot. Well, Canadian dollars, what's the conversion rate? Convert that to USD and I'll tell you if that's a decent price or not. Italeri's always going to be a bit more pricey, I'm afraid. This one goes here. Why is this telling me I need to open a hole here? Well, if you do decide to get it, I know where you can get files for the tires. There you go. Yeah, just keep an eye out for a little bit, and if you don't find one in a certain amount of time, then yeah, go for the other option. Yeah, getting the Centauro dirty is going to be interesting. Okay, 4A. Now, is this the same top and bottom? Yes, it is. Okay. And then we have 3A. These are all the main bits for the cross members. There's 2A, but it's a round rod, and it's not in a place where I've got to worry about it squaring. So yeah, we're going to start here with this one. And then 4A is here. Five A is here. However, that cable reel goes right here. And it didn't tell me to open these. Good thing I was paying attention. But they also do the cargo version with the crane and the hillbilly armor. So if you wanted to do one of those, same basic frame, new parts for the armor. Okay, that goes there. That goes there. Well, that's what this is a Hammett with a fuel tank on the back. Didn't notice these holes had to be opened either. We'll get there, guys. We'll get there. As I think I proved while painting the Centauro, I am not perfect. Completely missed the underside of the barrel. Alright, I'm going to put this transfer case in after I get the main frame together. Well, the Marines even had a somewhat specialized version of this for a while. Imagine just the cab with a fifth wheel on the back. That thing is weird to see. And I've only seen it a couple times. Okay. I forget which way this needs to go. One has 2 holes, one has 1 hole. So the side with the 2 holes goes forward. Okay, that works. Because you've got your input from the transmission, then your output to the rear axles, and your output to the front axles. The input and the front axles are on the same side of the transfer case. Put my fingy in there. Ew. I'm still trying to finish converting my 16th scale Mat V over to RC. It's the Toro RC one, but they have such garbage electronics, I gutted it. It's more a case I just need to go get the electronics than anything, but honestly, acquiring more RC stuff right now is like so low on my totem pole that I don't care. Straight enough. I'm trying to figure out this little conundrum they've given me. I think I've gotten something backward here. No? Okay. Because on this side they give me a square that it has to notch into, but this side's the one with the square that notches into it. It's almost like the part's upside down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the square. As long as both ends of this wind up in their notches here and both ends of this wind up sitting properly on the outside, that's all I need to do to align it. I just don't know if it sits in that far. That feels very, very far to me. Come on. Play nice. Yeah, it's supposed to sit flush with the outside corner, so I'm going to live with that. I am not going to use the inside placement. Trust your instincts when it comes to stuff like this, because the destructions are not always correct. Oh, she's about as straight as a banana. I think Ares built the Ryefield Matte V. It was either the Ryefield or the not Panda. What was it, Panda Hobby? I don't know. Ares, which version of the Matte V did you build? Which manufacturer's kit? Yeah, the lens always makes stuff look straight, doesn't it? Tacom? See, I don't remember. I know you picked it up when like 3 different companies were basically crapping out Matte V kits. Yeah, these are all 20A. What did you think of the Ryefield kit? Excuse me. Okay, there's that and that. I want to get these on so I can at least get it down and put bottles on top of it to keep it straightened out and level. As long as they don't splay outward. Well, if I remember right, Ares built his when he was just getting back in, so if he can do it. And it is an earlier Ryfield kit before they started going really dumb on their parts count. You still need to finish it? Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. I don't like that the transfer case keeps trying to tilt like a drunk minion. Yeah, when it comes to Ares building models, it's like, and here we see the most procrastinating animal on the planet. So 167s go in the rear. All right. And notice he is not saying I'm wrong. I know it takes him longer to get motivation up. Do not be afraid to fail. You can only go bleep 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 bleep. That's all, folks. No, you can always throw it out or start again. Well, I don't know about you, but I've had some methodical slow builds turn into shit. Where did I leave off? Can't remember. Well, looks like that's it then. But this is also the person who's got the 20-year-old trumpeter flanker sitting 97% finished behind him. Yeah, believe it or not, I'm not that big a diorama maker. I don't mind doing little display bases to give the weathering context for the vehicle. But outside of that, dioramas take up too much space. And that's why I decided. That's another reason I decided to not start the German tank transporter, the big Fawn 5 ton, or not 5 ton, the 56. I know I'd be putting it down, and I don't want it getting ruined moving either. Moving's coming up a lot closer, and chances are I'd probably finish it right as it was time to move, and wind up losing it. I very rarely do models twice. I especially don't like doing them a third time. Excuse me. Oh, good plan, bad plan. It's the only plan I got right now. Go. So I believe that's all the parts for step 1. 15A. Let's get those nubs trimmed off. Alright, there's a few parts more I want to get on down in this step, and then I think we're going to call it a stream, because I really need to let that dry, and I need to get some lunch. It's been almost 4 hours again, which is good. I'm glad to see myself getting up into that time range again. So I need this one. 21. I think that's part of the spare tire crane. That or the exhaust, I can't remember which. Go. Alright, that's the first 2 steps taken care of, but I need some lunch. Tomorrow we'll continue on, because the yeah, this will be dry enough I'll be able to start putting other things together and putting them on it, but I want this to be good and steady and dry first. So thanks everybody for watching. Thank you for the new follows. And I hope to see everybody tomorrow. I want to try and be on a little earlier than I was today. Hope everybody has a good day. Take it easy and enjoy the rest of your weekend.